Welcome back to Can Business Save the Planet? Today, I'm going to be interviewing Daniel Goetz, who's the founder and CEO of GoodPop, a company that's grown from its roots in Austin farmers markets to become a nationally recognized brand. They're known for their clean, high-quality frozen treats, and GoodPop's also celebrated for its commitment to social responsibility and sustainability as a certified B Corp. Daniel's going to share his entrepreneurial journey, the importance of ethical sourcing, and how GoodPop uses its platform to drive positive social and environmental impact. Let's dive in. So Daniel, love to connect with you, buddy. Super excited to dig in and learn a little bit more. Thanks for coming on the show.
Alex, if this is the first episode and if it's going to be in that order, it is just an honor to do this with you, man. So it's always great to see you, but I can't wait to dive in.
Let's do it. So for the viewers, want to give a little background. So GoodPop. Tell us about it. What is it? How did you start it? What was your concept? And tell me a little bit more about the business.
Yeah, no, absolutely. GoodPop, you might recognize us from your freezer, or you might have never heard about us, but it's been a 15-year journey to get to this day. Started this company back in college. I fell in love with these fresh fruit paletas down in Mexico and got back to Austin. Where I was trying to finish up over at University of Texas, and I just kept thinking about these paletas, and wasn't thinking about starting a company. I just really, I missed them. I missed these sort of fresh fruit, locally grown fruit treats that were not super high in sugar. Kept thinking about it, and at that time, back in 2008, I was also really into this sort of new wave of social enterprise and businesses that existed to try to do something different than just make money, but also have an impact. And I kind of put two and two together, and just, I felt like a clean, delicious, locally grown fruit treat that existed to have a positive impact would be so much fun. And so it kind of just started out as like a little project, put my lawn mowing savings from middle school, whatever was left of that, into making our first little batch.
Love it.
And started that way.
That's so cool, man. That's so cool. So you said about 15 years now in the making.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
Congratulations, man. That's incredible. It's so unbelievable to see how fast time flies, and especially when you're having an impact and doing awesome things like you guys are doing.
No, appreciate it. And I think the best part about 15 years in and enjoying what you're doing is, like, I feel like we're still just getting started. Every day I wake up ready, and it's just so fun. And when there's this sort of impact first, impact at the heart of everything that you're doing as a company, it makes it about so much more than just the product. So it's not just me that's having fun. Like, our whole team is here for that reason too.
Yes.
I know you can relate.
Yes, absolutely. I can definitely relate. I think that it's awesome when you can have a purpose behind the business and being able to, do more than just deliver to the bottom line, right? It's that triple bottom line. And I think that, GoodPop is a great example of this. You guys absolutely walk the walk when it comes to leveraging a business to create a positive impact. And tell us a little bit about some of I know you guys have really taken significant steps forward to do better. And talk to me about your certified B Corp. You guys are a certified B Corp, correct?
Yep.
Awesome. Yep. And how long have you guys had that certification?
It's been since 2017.
Okay, amazing. And for the viewers, what is a certified B Corp really certification?
Yeah, so B Corp is a third-party entity that essentially audits businesses that opt in. So you have to opt in as a business to try to want to become a B Corp. And what it does is it assesses your business across your products, across how you treat your people, and across your impact to the planet. And in order to become a B Corp, it means you have to go really above and beyond on all three. It's incredibly rigorous. I think anybody that's listening that has been through that process or is familiar with B Corp knows how difficult it is. But that's the beauty of it. It's not something that they're just handing out because you filled out the paperwork.
Yes.
They get to test every area of your business. And I know we're talking about sustainability and planet, and that's a massive piece of it, but it is, again, just one piece of really the three areas.
Yes. And becoming a certified B Corp is something that is so intense. I mean, I think we became a certified B Corporation a few years ago as well. And it was actually so hard and so complex in order to get this certification that the project manager on our team that was managing it, it took us years literally to get this. And I told him, I said, listen, if you get this done, I'll bake you a cake. I will literally bake you a cake if you get this done. And it took us a couple of years because we were a newer business, and we had to develop the processes, the policies. I mean, there's no stone unturned when it comes to a certified B Corp certification. And we are so excited to get that and be able to drive that forward and just leverage the business as a force for good. But we got that certification, baked the man a cake, got Dave a nice little cake, and he was fired up. So
what kind of cake are we talking?
It was more of like a key lime pie, like a little bit of a key lime pie with a little bit of frosting and icing on it.
Beautiful. So you were there squeezing key limes.
Yeah. Yes, dude.
That sounds
so
amazing.
It was a big win for us, and I think that's something we get asked a lot about is the certified B Corp and trying to understand, if it's worth it, what all goes into it. And I think what as you mentioned, a lot of businesses are hesitant to move forward because when you get that task list and all the projects to go on board, like it is rigorous. There's so much that you have to do to really prove that you are leveraging your business as a force for good. And you're not just, handling a few different aspects, right? They look at the entire organization. And so I think that's huge for businesses that are really trying to, take that necessary step forward.
Yeah, no, it makes you think about, like you were saying, it makes you really walk the walk. It's not like you just want to have a badge on your packaging or be able to talk about some attribute. Like it really is a holistic approach to the entire business. And it took you a few years. It took us, probably a year. But what it does is it makes you think of things that you haven't done before.
Yep.
If your focus was focusing on cleaning the ocean, my focus was making it better for you, Pop.
Yep.
And thinking about, total carbon footprint or policies and procedures about environmental management or, water use or waste management and all these different things. And then also on the people side, making sure that you're providing a world-class, best-in-class place for people to come to work every day. And so, putting everything in place is not just checking boxes. It's actually a commitment to doing something better and different. And honestly, what I think it does is it rules out a lot of inauthenticity because it takes the hurdles that you have to jump in order to get to B Corp certification. Like you actually have to care about this stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I completely agree with you. It definitely weeds out, any businesses that might be looking for just a quick flash in the pan certification that, hey, is it a pay to play type thing? And that's not the case. Like it is a rigorous process in order to get approved. And, just like you mentioned, they go through absolutely everything. So it's not just something that you could just jump into. And it does weed out a lot of businesses that might not be able to do it. And I think that, it's a good aspirational goal too. Because I think for us, when we first started for Ocean, we really wanted to get the certification. And one of the main reasons why it took us so long was because we were a startup. Like there were so many policies that had to be built. You had to have all this infrastructure in place and all of the different, units of measurement for all the different aspects of the business. So like that was something while not only helped us on the sustainability side, but it helped structure the framework of how we really view running a business and running our operations. So, big shout out to them and that process and all the businesses that have gone through it. It's definitely amazing. I'd love to learn a little bit more. So when it comes to, founding GoodPop, that is at the core of your business is doing good. And I would love to learn, where your ambition came from to utilize business in a way that can be having an impact and doing good in the world. So what did that come from originally?
Yeah, Alex, it goes back to watching my grandfather His father, my great grandfather, came to the U.S. in like 1918 and landed here, no English, like no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
And started. He landed in Philly, and he started selling coal in the wintertime out of this cart that he had borrowed, and the coal was also on consignment. And then in the summertime, he would sell ice out of that cart.
Wow.
And did this for a decade. And so growing up in a family where there were stories like that, and then seeing those efforts turn into this really incredible business that my grandfather was running as I was growing up. And so during the summers, I would go, they were distributing groceries to independent family-owned stores in Houston.
Okay.
And that was the business. And so I used to go and work there over the summers, and I would work in the warehouse, or I'd work in the freezer. That was the job for a 13, 14, 15-year-old. And so that's what I was doing. And where I really realized that that business can be used for a force for good. And this is before social enterprise, before that was like really a thing. It was, I'd have warehouse people coming up to me all the time saying very specific stories about how my grandfather impacted them and their families personally.
Yeah.
And it just made me realize that is the impact. That's why we do what we do as people, is to try to really leave a positive impact across everybody and everything that we come across. So I think it started there.
That's awesome, man. So it was the, grandfather, great grandfather, just running the operations, you getting exposed to it at a young age, and really just wanting to find ways that you could leverage a business model. And so you had this idea. You really enjoyed the idea of this healthy for you, fruit concept. And you mentioned it was out of college that you were getting things started?
Yeah, I was still in college at the time. I was a senior at UT in Austin, trying to finish up. And I just was sitting in class thinking about a delicious popsicle with cool flavors that existed to do good. And like, that was it. And so I was in class just designing the brand, the flavors, the recipes, versus trying to actually finish up my work.
Yes.
Yeah, and it wasn't like a rocket ship coming out. It was actually it was extremely difficult, and there's so many stories. And we'll save that one for a different podcast.
Sure.
I want to hear about the Four Ocean startup journey, because I'm sure you got some very similar scrappy stories.
All of them do. We all do, right?
Yeah, exactly. But bottom line is, it was really hard. I put all those savings I was telling you about into making Pops, and we did this big event. It was Austin City Limits. We were going to sell them out of these carts right outside, and I put all of my money and time into that, and it rained. It was cold. We sold 4 popsicles.
Oh no.
It was and then it was really horrible. I spent the next 8 months kind of just in school, feeling dejected, still thinking about it. And we got an opportunity from I had this website up, GoodPop.com.
Yep.
It wasn't really a business. And I got an inquiry from a marketing agency, and they said, "Hey, we're looking for someone to make us some custom popsicles for our client." We put in a bid, even though we had really nothing other than a website.
Yeah.
Ended up getting that. So I figured out where we could make them. We ended up leaving that with $40,000 in profit. And from there, we've never raised money and just built this business by operating profitably, trying to do the right thing.
Yep.
And so that's been, that was the kickoff.
That's incredible.
Back in 2011 when we got restarted.
That's incredible. And that's actually something that I always want to ask is, like, for you, what was your moment where you're like, we really have something here? And it sounds like that was it. That was it. When you got that order, they gave you the bid, that for you, that was the big moment of like, okay, this has got legs.
I don't even know if I've still found that moment, to be honest. I mean, we've got,
Okay, I love that.
yeah, no, and that's what I
Humble
mean.
and hungry, humble and hungry.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I really do believe that for our business because of how hard it's been at every turn and how, I love kind of celebrating the small wins, but just for a second, acknowledge it, but we keep going.
Yes.
And so I don't know. I've never had that moment. I mean, I'm sure. What about for you? What was your moment?
So first things first, I think you're a very humble guy. I think that you've built an amazing business. You've got an amazing team, and the impact that you guys are having is awesome. So yes, I think it definitely has legs, and I love the idea of still chasing it. I'd say for me, we had a comparable story, right? We started Fort Ocean, and we didn't really know what was going to happen. It was kind of a crazy idea, like, can we fund captains and crews? And I think the big moment for us was we had a video go viral on Facebook. And so when we started out, just a couple of us, right? It was a small little crew, and we woke up one morning and had a video. Like, our social media channel is just absolutely blowing up, like going nuts. Everything's going viral. The website's like exploding. It was like, oh my gosh, this is insane. Like we struggled to manage it. It's a pretty crazy story because the first time that happened, we only had, I think, 3 or 4 of us at the time. And so what we needed to do is we literally went to, like, 2 days later was the FAU job fair. And so we went to the FAU job fair because we're like, we need bodies. We literally need people right now, whether it's for customer service, for shipping orders, the cleanup crew. Like, we was just like, okay, we got to get after it. So it started out like, like you're saying, pretty slow, not really understanding what's going to happen. And a video went viral, and it was wild. So we went to that FAU job fair. We hired 17 people right off the spot. It was so funny. I was sitting at a booth, and the theme for the day was, if you've got a pulse, you've got a job. Like, anybody that came up, we're like, we got you. We'll figure it out. Just come on down. We'll figure something out. And it was so funny, man, because I'll never, ever forget this. We literally, so the next day, we get all these people. We just gave everybody, like, okay, come on down. And so we had, like, I think 17 people was 17 kids, like freshmen,
Yep.
They came down, and we had a banker. We had a meeting with a banker because we were trying to, establish and build a line of credit and do a few things. And we're like, okay, let's build a banking relationship. And so it was the day that we brought all the FAU kids into the office, and like 3 of them showed up in pajamas, and we're sitting there, and, and this is like a tiny little office in some complex, and we're all kind of packed in doing all these things. And this guy from Bank of America shows up in the suit with the briefcase, and he walks in the door, and we're having a meeting. We're trying to, like, introduce him to this is our business, and we're new, but we really want to establish a relationship. And he's sitting here talking to us a little questionable, kind of questioning things. And someone opens up the door, and a kid comes in wearing literally pajamas, a wife beater, and bunny slip-ons. And he just gets in it, and he's like filling up his water, just like looks at us in the conference room and looks at this guy, fills up his water, and walks out. And the guy's like, yeah, like, I don't know, maybe in a few months, guys, we can talk. And it was so funny because I'll never forget that starting out point. But
It's incredible.
that was kind of like the early phases of, kind of like you guys, of like not knowing what's going to happen, and starting it out, and just knowing that we have a mission and we've got an idea and concept that we want to bring to life.
So the guy in the bunny slippers, that was the CFO, right?
Yeah, that was the CFO.
It's like, hey, you might want to come meet this is our CFO.
Yes, dude. Yes.
8-year-old.
Absolutely hilarious, man.
That's wild.
Yes.
That is wild. But yeah, so you had like a very defining moment. This video goes crazy, but I guess the common thread is that you guys were doing a lot of, you were doing something that was different, that was, with your conviction of actually like trying to do something incredible for this planet, and you put all this effort and energy into doing it the right way. And so you really created your own luck. You created your own virality.
Yes.
Because you did it the right way. It was authentic, it was real, and every single bit of that was earned because you were doing things the right way. It wasn't fabricated to become a viral moment. It was just real.
Yes. And that's what we're so appreciative of. and it's enabled us to have a great amount of impact around the world, creating jobs for these captains and crews, and we're coming up on 40 million pounds of trash removed from the ocean. So we're fired up, man. And because of partners like you guys, GoodPop is a partner of ours, and they are taking responsibility for the plastic packaging within the GoodPop. So tell us about our partnership and what were your thoughts, leading up to the idea and concept of partnering with 4Ocean?
I think the one area, I'm so proud of every area of this business. We haven't always been perfect everywhere, but we've always gone above and beyond to try to make this business different than anything that's been built before. Like I've never, I don't read books on entrepreneurship, and I just kind of do what I feel is right and follow our team in a lot of ways. And so the one thing that I don't feel great about, and that has been really bothering me about this business for over a decade, is our plastic packaging. And because it's a popsicle, it's in a freezer, they can get sticky, and they have to be individually wrapped. So the industry has always used polypropylene, like, clear packaging. Even though it's thin, it's still plastic, and it still has to go around every bar. So for the last decade, I've been working on a home compostable version of our packaging, and really trying to develop that from the ground up with the polymer suppliers, with the converters of that into packaging. Yeah. And it's been really interesting, because along the way I started to realize that big plastic and these packaging companies are the industry is really incentivized to keep these great materials out of the market in a lot of ways. Yes. And just keep the lines running and keep status quo, right? As far as plastic. And so I keep running into these hurdles, and I'm not trying to develop a home compostable packaging that I can go out and market. I just want to just do it so I can feel really good about GoodPop, everything that we're doing, right? Yes. We keep running into these hurdles, and I got to a point in 2022 where I just, it's like, this enough is enough. We're not going to keep waiting. I'm not going to wait another decade until the industry comes along. Yep. We're going to take responsibility for everything that we put out. And we ended up finding 4Ocean, and luckily you guys at the time were kind of pivoting into this model where you were actually offering cleanups on behalf of businesses, where you could offset our impact. And it was just like, it was the perfect thing. It's the perfect partnership, real people, going out every day, doing the work on behalf of everybody. Yeah. With a real mission behind it. And so it's been an incredible partnership. I think we were the first food brand to sign up with 4Ocean. Yep. And our goal is not just to take our own plastic out and trash out through 4Ocean, but it's to evangelize everything that you're doing, and to try to get some of the bigger players to come on board as well, and see the value and the impact that you guys are having every day.
Absolutely. And that's one thing that we talk about a lot, is that plastic offsets are not the silver bullet. They're not the get out of jail free card. And I think that's something that's super important, because they really are designed for businesses like yourself, where the innovation in the packaging sector just doesn't exist yet. You need to deliver a product or service, and it has to utilize a material that could protect that product at this point in time. And until we see that innovation in the packaging space, unfortunately, we have to use some of these materials. And so we work with businesses like yourself, like GoodPop, to find that bridge, right? Find that stepping stone on what can start to take responsibility for that plastic that's going out into the environment now, while really pushing and trying to drive that innovation in the packaging space. I mean, there's so many things that are happening. I mean, I was just at, the Circularity Conference, and they're making packaging out of seaweed, and they're making it all these home compostable options. And there's ways where you can deliver something where the product is protected, it's still sanitary, and it's going to be essentially a minimal impact to the environment. So I think that's something that's super important, and I love your thought process on that, where you guys just didn't wait. You wanted to take action now, and in the meantime, you eventually will switch over to an option when it exists. And I think you're right that a lot of people and industries are kind of, blocking a little bit in terms of getting these materials to work at scale, because it will completely disrupt how they conduct business. But I think that it's so important that we do reach the economies of scale with these innovative materials, because that's what's going to really drive the long-term changes that we need to see to cut down on the amount of plastic entering the ocean.
Totally. We as businesses can't just kick the can down the road and wait forever.
Yeah.
Like, we have to do something today, and we know that we know what we're putting out into the market. It's, a lot of times single-use plastic, and even companies that have recyclable options or like recyclable materials that go out. We as businesses know the percentages that those actually end up getting recycled.
Yes.
We also know that there is a massive waste pollution issue in the ocean, and that was created by all of this consumerism, and we're part of that.
Yes.
So in general, it's not that our products, or whoever might be listening that has a product, it's not that necessarily those are ending up in the ocean, but they're ending up in the marketplace.
Yeah.
And what you guys are doing to offset is at least a step in the right direction to get us to a place where we're talking about these things. We're not just kicking the can down the road.
Yes, I completely agree. And the one thing that I really do like and appreciate about this entire industry and an extended producer responsibility, which is EPR, the EPR regulations, is it's essentially having brands take responsibility for that plastic that they're putting out into the environment. So I think it's going to be something that's going to really help to move the needle. And I do believe that plastic offsets as a whole are also driving a ton of awareness. Now, it's a very interesting market that needs to be careful where it's not taken advantage of. You don't want to view it, like we said, as a get out of jail free card, or businesses just to say, hey, we're just going to keep operating business as usual. But what's happening is the amount of awareness that's happening on the consumer level is incredible. Consumers are starting to understand what's happening with our oceans and the environment, and how much plastic is actually being produced. And I think that's one thing at 4Ocean that we're really passionate about is we want to drive the attention. We want to leverage our platforms to drive awareness and show people the problems and get more people to start the conversations. Because the more that we're talking about it, the more that people are aware of what's happening with the amount of plastic we're consuming, the more of an impact that we can have on moving the needle with, creating these innovative changes and having these different markets being receptive to what needs to happen. Because if they don't know about it, then they all think like, hey, it's not that big of a problem. Like, hey, we hear it a lot. Like, isn't that just in a lot of, developing countries? Like, it's not really a big issue for us, but it's an issue for everyone all around the world. We're all affected by ocean plastic. And I think that, it's a great way to drive that awareness.
Yeah, I think there's a subset of people who are hyper aware of climate and environmental issues that are going on, hyper aware, and even like to a point where it causes extreme anxiety in their daily lives. Like,
yes.
There's that subset of people.
Yep.
They're thinking about it all the time. And then there's this, that I would say the majority of consumers are, they're aware. But it's an adjacency, not their focus.
Yep.
And if through these awareness efforts of 4Ocean and other businesses that are trying to do something different, if we can just get them to consumers who are, this is not part of their DNA or day-to-day, to slow down for a second as they're interacting with our products or whatever it is that we're doing in the marketplace as business, and just slow down for 1 second and just have them consider that how their choices are impacting the planet, and our society. If we just get them to slow down for 1 second, that's a massive win for everybody. That's a step in the right direction. It's a step. So I think at a minimum, that feels like the big job to be done, because the people who really care about the planet are going to keep pushing. I
completely agree, and I think that that's a good point. If we can get consumers out there who typically wouldn't understand what's going on with the environment, what's going on with the ocean, getting them to just really be aware of it is huge. So that's why we're really trying to drive that with, leveraging social media, influencers, ambassadors, and trying to drive this entire movement forward. And it's incredible to see, and I think that businesses have the opportunity to really be role models in that sense, right? And so when it comes to GoodPop's efforts, all the things that you guys are doing, what else are you guys doing besides taking responsibility for your plastic footprint and trying to offset the plastic packaging? What else are you guys doing across the board, leveraging your business as a force for good?
And everything. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this. Like we're trying, every single thing. So starting from partnering with farmers and giving them tools to where we can have a mutual shared prosperity relationship, and also setting the standards of how we believe food should be grown. So whether it's organic practices, non-GMO, regenerative practices, but practices that actually undo a lot of this sort of massive like big food farming that's destroyed soil health, which is also like it's leading to all sorts of other issues with the environment.
Yep.
So from how we source to how we treat our all of and anyone that comes across our brand and that we deal with, to our community, local communities, and any of the communities that support us. So whether it's here in the U.S. where our products are sold, or abroad where sometimes our products are sourced, making investments into those communities through programs like fair trade, making sure that farmers and their families are able to start to scale out of poverty, because that is the cycle.
Yep.
At GoodPop, we've got this. When we started out, and in GoodPop, as I was in that class we were talking about earlier, I was 21 years old. I was thinking about, well, what would this thing be called?
Sure.
And GoodPop made so much sense because they taste good, and it exists to do good. And so the good in GoodPop really is it's the reason we exist, and it's to try to use our products as a vehicle to do some good. The first 7 or 8 years, we were doing everything. And we were just, as long as it checks that box of using our products as a vehicle to do good, great, we're going to do it.
Yep.
And I started to realize that while we were doing a little bit for a lot of things, we needed to really have a big impact, narrow in and kind of go deeper and not wider.
Sure.
And so the last 7 years or so, 7 years ago, I kind of I brought in all of our team and asked them, what are the types of things that are important to them? And it kind of came down to 4 areas. And so the purpose that we chose really was a collective purpose. It was, nurturing a healthy environment, and that's where 4Ocean falls. Supporting equity and inclusion, and that's it has a lot to do with education as well as employment practices, but education and access to it.
Yep.
Helping animals find homes. Our team loves animals. It's just it's just kind of a thing at GoodPop, and I know you can relate to. The viral video. I know how much you love animals as well, and then addressing food insecurity and hunger in America with access to real food, not just whatever might be available like at a food bank, trying to get real food. Those are the 4 things that we've been able to go deeper and not wider on. It's been super cool. Like with that approach, we can have a bigger impact that way.
So cool, man. Well, if you were to leave one, business with one tip or piece of advice in terms of sustainability on what they could do to start their journey or potentially start implementing sustainable practices, what would you give out to other founders out there or other business owners that are interested in this? Yeah,
I think the first thing is that it has to be authentic to you as an individual and to your business. Otherwise, you're going to lose steam. You're going to lose passion for it. So whatever it is that you're spending your time on, it has to be meaningful to you as a person. And I know you can relate to that also because, you were like you found the trash. You were in the trash, you know, when you were surfing, right? And so it's like, and because of that, you decided to dedicate your life to fixing that, you know, versus having it be something that you're doing for external reasons. You know, doing it to try to sell more product is not the reason. The reason to do it because it's something that's meaningful to you, because anything that you choose is going to take a lot of work and a lot of energy. And if you don't have the passion for it, it's just not going to work.
100%. That's great feedback, great advice. And I couldn't agree more. You've got to be passionate about it. You've got to see it through and be something that you are truly dedicated to, because you're right. You will burn out. You know, it's easy to burn out, especially, I mean, 15 years in, you guys are rocking and rolling and still stronger than ever. And you still have that mentality and that hunger of, you know, you guys are just now hitting the stride. And I love to hear that. And well, Daniel, it has been incredible having you on. Thank you so much for taking the time to share a little bit more about GoodPop, your philosophy when it comes to sustainability, just doing good, leveraging business as a force for good, and just giving our viewers and listeners a little bit more information on how businesses can run a little bit more sustainably.
Yeah, Alex, no, thank you so much for having us on. Appreciate it. And thank you for everything that you and your team are doing out there. I'm going to thank you on behalf of the GoodPop team, but also all the viewers out there. So
awesome.
Appreciate.
Well, we appreciate you, buddy. Thank you so much. And we'll talk soon. I appreciate you coming on.
All right. Thanks, Alex.
Awesome.
Yep. Later, man.
And that wraps up our conversation with Daniel Goetz, founder and CEO of GoodPop. That was an amazing conversation, and it's so refreshing to hear the struggles and the triumphs of what it's like starting a business rooted in the impact of doing good. So, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, leave us a review on all the platforms. We really appreciate it. And we hope you guys follow along as we invite new business leaders onto Can Business Save the Planet? Thanks, guys. We'll see you on the next one.